Hi everyone, and thank you for joining today. We are going to implement a sort of complex drag and drop feature for our .NET MAUI app, specifically on Windows this time around. So for anyone who doesn't know or who's curious to understand what is a drag and drop, the short version is pretty much you being able to take a file, any file, and just drop it in your app, and it should open or recognize the file and work with that. So here I have, for example, dragged a file, and if I leave it in my Brave browser, it would open the file, right? We would hope to do something similar in .NET MAUI, and it's pretty doable actually. I've been using it in my music player app that I've been building for a while now. It's here. It's open source and cross-platform for Windows and Android for now. The way it works on Windows is pretty simple. I would simply have to drag and drop like here. And whenever I first of all, if you notice, whenever I come through, it says drop to play, and if you have a look, it becomes darker. Have a look at it, it becomes dimmer a little bit, right? So that's one of the things you can do to edit how the behavior would be. And whenever I drop, it will bounce, right? Have a look. See? It bounces, then starts playing. Another example. It would always do that, and that's because I set the behavior as such in my backend code. Now, of course, that's in my music player app. Feel free to have a look whenever you can. But of course, it's for the music player app, so feel free to check it out whenever you can. But for now, let's focus on how to do it in a sample app for ourselves. Well, the Microsoft documentation is pretty good. It has a lot of details, but it doesn't have some stuff here and there. And I would do my best to kind of elaborate on other stuff that could be helpful for you, of course. Now, in that sense, let's begin. And we are going to start actually by using our, let's see, our sample title bar window. Now, of course, it's the same thing that we have in the previous video. Exactly. Well, I changed a little bit of something, custom title bar, just to show. But it's the same thing really through and through. And now we are going to have to implement a drag and drop feature. But how do we do so? So first thing first, we have to understand, or we have to tell ourselves, who should receive the drop first, right? It would depend on the way you see it. Personally speaking, I would receive the drop, say for example in my window, like my window will receive the drop. But let's just assume, for example, you're not using a custom window, so you're using your main page, for example. Let's use that one. So let's go through. We would first need to add what we call a gesture recognizer, and this time around it will be the drop gesture recognizer. So to do so, you would simply come to the view that needs to recognize the drop. This time around I'm choosing, say, the scroll view, because it is the view for all my page. And of course, to show that, I can edit the background color to be, let's say, blue. Oh, sorry, black. Well, it works as well. So that means the whole content here is exclusively my scroll view, right? Perfect. Now we are going to need to implement a drop gesture first. So we did do scroll view dot gesture recognizer and open and close, of course. In there, we leave in a drop gesture recognizer, and we have to leave allow drop as true. That's one. Then we close it for now. Now, how would this work? You would realize, if by default, I don't know what, let me just see with you. I don't know what this value is, if it is true or false, but let's see. It seems to be true, and when you leave, it does nothing, because you know we have no logic for that. But say you want to do it false by default, you can simply do allow drop false, save. Then you try, you know, if you try to drag and drop, you see there the thing is different now, right? It's not the same thing. Okay, so we have allow drop. You have to set it to true. Then of course the next step is to actually have a recognizer itself, right? So let's see our options. Okay, so our options, we have a bunch actually. We do have drop, which is pretty self-explanatory. We have several drags. We have drag leave, drag over. Drag over, it's called, actually, you know what, let's call this one. Let's also have drag leave actually. Let's also have drop then, right? Perfect. So we have all three gesture recognizers. Just for us to be on the safer side, I will stop compiling, running the app, sorry, and we would work only on the code for now. Okay, just for it to pick up everything I'm gonna change. So let's simply open our app again, like this, full screen. Perfect. We have all of our recognizers here, or our events here. Now let's start with say with drag over, right? So whenever we drag over, we will just try debugging by saying debug the right line, or I can do this and say drag over. Same for drag left the dragging area, let's call it this way, and here dropped some stuff. Perfect. Now this is simply just for us to verify what works at what stage, right? And let's test again by doing a build. Give it some time, let it cook, as we say, and yeah, that runs good. Now we have the app. Let's go to the right, and let's try dropping some stuff again. So if I come through, I would maximize my output window for you to have a look at what will be written down here. Now if I drag over, have a look, drag over, right? It's called several times. I do not know why, but I think it's called like repeatedly, just to check if the drag is still being done. That's my thought. But yeah, it's called several times. If you leave, then it says left the dragging area. If I go back, same issue. If I go, say, remember the dragging area is only the scroll view, right? If I go up top, I left. I'm still in the app, but I left the droppable area, or the draggable area, right? And yeah, now if I drop some stuff, see? So we have the confirmation that the drag over works, the dropping works, and then the leaving of the area works. Perfect. Now this way, what we can do is start working with the data. Assume in this case, like I showed in the example, we wanted to show a simple image, right? Whenever we drag and let's say we would do two things. When we drag over, the app should display a preview of the image that we have, and when we drop, it would then show a big version of said image. Okay, I think it's fun that way. And for that, we do not, yeah, actually, you know what, we can leave this one around. We can leave this one around, and because we are going to use it. So for this, let me stop the app, remove everything, and now let's start the coding. Now we would like to recognize, say we want to recognize only images, and we are going to display them. So for that, we need to come through with a drag over, and we'll go step by step. First thing first, remember it's for Windows only, so we are going to do a conditional compilation for if it is Windows, then we are going to do some stuff. Okay, now of course we are on Windows, so it would work. Now here, what we will do is, of course, receive the argument. So sorry, the event argument. So var Windows event argument. Well, thank you, IntelliSense. And but I'm not sure that's what I need. I could just remove this and do platform arguments. But this one, perfect. This is how it works. And then you would need to, what I usually do is I override the drag UI for me to be able to display more or better information to the user. Let me show you. So you can do var drag UI equals window. So pretty much my Windows drag event argument dot drag UI override, and I assign it this way. Okay. Next would be to start working with the items themselves and to do some stuff. So here I would simply do, okay, var items, or say drag over items equals await Windows event arguments the data view but get the storage items, right? And that way we can simply do okay e.accepted operation for now. Since we want to be specific with items, let's say we only want to receive the only images, we would tell the acceptable operation that we can't do anything, so we can't allow anything. So we would do data package operation dot none. Alrighty. So again, to begin with, we started by getting the argument for Windows only. Then we got we assigned ourselves the drag UI override because we're going to use it, and we got all the items needed inside this drag over items. And for the beginning, we will tell the program, hey, don't receive any drag for now unless we accept it. And how do we accept it? Let's find out. So here we can simply do something as simple as of course, normally we know we should have only one item, but we can simply do something as simple as if the drag items count is greater than 0, so at least 1, then I don't need the help for now, IntelliSense. But let me show you. Now what we do is we do as such: for each item in the drag items here, you check if the item is a Windows dot storage file. Oh my gosh, perfect, of a file, right? Then here we check, of course we try to have our string file extension first to check. Good. And now since we already have we should have the files extension at least, we just need to double check if the extension, if the file extension is a JPEG or pretty much like being proposed here. But I wouldn't copy everything. Let me just accept and remove all of these. I will put them one by one for you to understand what's going on. Of course, first, now if it is a this file format or a JPEG or PNG, then it's gonna do some things. Otherwise, then else you will simply do other things. So let's start with, in case this is not what we want, then what you simply have to do is tell the drag UI that the caption will be simple as that, invalid file type. Or you can also do is the caption visible? Of course it's going to be visible. And the drag UI, you have to remove the glyph. You remember the glyph is let me show you again. This is what we call the glyph. When you're about to drop something, it will show you sort of a preview, right? Same for .NET MAUI as well. If you try to drop anything, it would show you a preview. Let me sample title. I think I have it. Let me just show you on your sample app. If I try to drop, it shows a glyph. You see? There you go. Okay, so now we would not show a glyph if the file is not supported. But if the file is, then we will simply copy this, change this to drop file. Also, we would need to do, is the caption visible? Of course true. Is the glyph visible? Then true. And the good thing about the glyph is that it would show you a preview of the file. I would show you. Now also, what we can do is we would tell, since the file is not supported, then we would tell the application not to do anything. So again, we insist on that, right? Well, even though it has been told before here, right? But in case you hadn't done it before, then here is the place where you can do it. Okay, so it was done before, so we would leave it like that. And if the file is supported, if everything is good and we need the file being dragged over, then we would simply pretty much do anything with it, right? Let's say string file path equals, so just to be sure, initialize the string that empty. And here, if the file is supported, then we would do string file path equals to file dot path. Simple as that. You may wish to do it to lower just to standardize everything, but yeah, ideally it will be file dot path like we. Then what we can do is pretty much we are done. If we drag over, we are going to have at least a preview of what's going on. Oh, let's do something cute. Let's put here a statement for the debugger. We now have file path dragged over. Perfect. And with that, let me simply run the app. Give it some time to compile it, give it some time to build everything up, and when through, you would see some file being shown. Perfect. So we have our app as usual. Now we would simply test by trying to do a drag and drop, right? So let's try with a simple sample file. As said, we would like to accept only JPEG files. So if we do with JPEG, you would see, if you look at the right here, now we have the file this, which is right in the debugger window. Okay, so now that we have the app opened, I just had to open everything. If I try to drag, say, the image, no, let's say I try to drag something else, this one, invalid file type, it would tell you that you can't go through, and it wouldn't show, ideally it shouldn't show anything as a preview. Now, if I try to drag the song image, drop the file, and you see the debugger starts firing events saying, hey, something's going on, we have this file, right? If I remove, it stops. If I go back, it starts again, right? Leave it like that. Okay, now we are sure that we can recognize our file. It works with all of the other file types too, of course. We had JPG, we had JPEG, we had PNG. We can try with other ones, but for now we try only with JPG, and it works. Perfect. So now we would like to show the image when it is dropped. Okay, and for that it's equally as simple. Let me stop the application again. What I will need to do is simply go through my main page.xaml. In my vertical stack layout, I will simply add in, well, you know what, let's use this .NET bot image, right? This image bot. Add in a name, sample image, sample drag drop image, right? Oh, so this is sample drop image because we are not dragging anything from there. Perfect. Compile again for it to have everything through. Perfect. And now, since we know for now that we are only working with one file, we don't have to stress with other things else. So we know that we're going to assign the file path here. And when done, we would need to assign the image itself to the view. Remember, the view is called, say, file drop image. Yes, perfect. Then the source would be the file path. Simple as that. Build the app. It should work. I don't believe there should be any discrepancy anywhere. It's as simple as saying to the .NET MAUI program that, hey, I am dragging this file. I would need for you to give me, like, to show what it looks like inside the app itself. And something quite important that I needed to do would be to also set the with request, just in case, so that we should not have any issues. And we can simply try again to get our file. So this is our app here. And if I come through, there you go. Well, it's too small. Let me maximize everything again, 300, and here say 300 as well. There you go. Here's my file. So the way I did is that it will show the image when you just stop dragging, right? But let's show the image when we drop the content, actually, when we release the left click. So for that, we can simply, of course, stop the debugging and simply come to this code and paste it here. Actually, very simple, because remember in the beginning we had already assigned the file path here, right? So this method, the drag over, is usually always going to be called before the drop, right? So that way we are always pretty much sure that file path would always have something, or it will be just empty, right? So all good. Now we would simply build the app again, have it run, just give it some time to compile again as usual. We have our file ready here, and if I come over, drop, there you go. If I go with something else, it doesn't work. And so if we build the app, and of course at the same time, let's just prepare our files here. Just give me a while to navigate to that. Should be this one. Okay. If I try to drop, say, this CSV file, it wouldn't work. If I try to drop the PNG file, it works. If I try to drop the JPG file, it works, right? So we have the certitude that everything works all good, and our drag and drop knows how to understand which file can be dropped, sorry, and which file cannot be dropped. And of course the preview is there for us to know what would be dropped. If you wish, you can also decide to not show any preview. Really, you can just decide to have no caption here, or you can decide to have it as false, really up to please, and try to drag and drop again. Should not show anything else. Oh, I think I just have to recompile again. Give it this short while, and it is back. So let's try to drop again. Nothing, right? It just shows the image and the icon, which you can also remove, by the way. So you would have more control on everything if you wish to. Let's say we want to remove the icon as well. I don't think there is something else we can remove. I don't believe so. Oh, the content would be, I believe it's going to be the image itself, right? The image that you're going to drop. So if you want to remove that too, you can. I don't know in what case you would need to, but you can, yeah. So we would build again the app, and now we can simply, yeah, we have this. In this case, it would tell you, because we hadn't edited the logic there, it would give you the text that the invalid file type cannot be dropped. But if it is valid, then it will just show anything. That's the image. As simple as that. So that is the simplest way to implement the drag and drop. I know I should have done more on drag leave, but I didn't do anything because I just wanted to it's a pretty simple thing. It's very subjective, depending on how you want to manage the drag leave on your application. You can put in anything you wish. Of course, it's compatible with MVVM and anything like that, so you can use it like as such. And the more important things to me, at least, would be to know how to manage with the drag over, and of course with the drag drop, right? So that you can process your files. With that, that's pretty much everything for the video. It's a slightly longer one. Sorry about that, but I just had to go through a lot of content just to be sure that I'm thorough. And if there's anything that I missed, if there's any question, something I did not get through, please let me know, of course, in the comments. Drop a like, drop the subscription, of course, and if that's helpful, you can share with anyone else that could benefit from. And see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, and bye bye.